welcome everyone to a new edition of Remixing Politics and Culture with me, your host, Pam. I'm so glad that you're back with us after a brief birthday hiatus. I am a public relations and marketing professional with a passion for social justice, voter advocacy, and culture. And tonight, we're having a special session of Culture Talk. We're talking about some sticky subjects and how these situations impact us on a daily basis. I am going to bring up my first and my only male guest this evening for tonight, whose Facebook post actually led me to choosing this Culture Talk discussion. All right. There he is, sir.
Yes.
You're on camera.
Okay.
There you are. Okay, Sturge Moreland. He is a husband, father, and is the owner of Moreland Studios in Detroit, Michigan. Sturge is an artist, an avid reader, and traveler. He is always seeking justice for all human beings, especially and particularly for Black people. Sturge also sings and performs. He's a man of many, many talents. Welcome, Sturge, to the show.
Thank you.
Okay. And next we have Stacy Hill. Hey, Stacy.
Hey, Pam. How are you?
Well, Stacy is the CEO and founder of Confident Woman International, an Atlanta-based organization that promotes community, togetherness, family building, and wealth formation. She believes that all things are achievable by developing strong bonds of sisterhood. Stacy resides in Atlanta, Georgia. And last but certainly not least is Latrice Davis. I'm adding Latrice to the stream. Latrice, now your picture isn't in the screen. What in the world? I don't know what's going on. Latrice was having some problems signing on earlier, but Latrice, let's see. Somebody has some noise on in the background. I hear.
That sounds like a TV. I don't have anything on in my house.
Oh, okay. All right, let's see. There she goes. There she is. Latrice, can you hear me?
People cannot hear me though. What's going on with the audio?
We can hear you. Latrice Davis is no stranger to the show. I hate that she's having difficulty hearing us tonight. She is a senior court clerk at Queens County Civil Court. Latrice also has a background in journalism, having worked at the Associated Press. Latrice was also appointed to the Queens Community Board 6, serving on the Aging, Social Services, and Disabilities Committee, and so much more. Welcome, Latrice, to the show. Welcome, Latrice. Welcome all of you guys to the show. All right, so we're going to talk about some sticky subjects, y'all. Some sticky subjects. And Serge, we're going to go right to you first.
Okay, I want to make sure you put that T in my name. It's Sturge.
I did. I said Sturge.
Oh, I thought you said Surge. You know, that was a pop, like in the 90s. Surge.
No. Okay, no, I see Sturge. And we're going to start with you first because it was your Facebook post that got me onto this subject matter. And let's see here. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, here we go. Here we go again. Hold on. Okay. Hold on, guys. 1 second.
Okay, I hope everyone can hear me because I cannot hear anyone.
We can hear you. Okay.
You may have to type your questions for her.
Yeah, maybe so. Let me see. Sturgis post. Okay. Let
What's
me get.
going on with the audio?
I don't know, and God knows you've been here 1,000,001 times, and we've never had this issue before.
What is the young lady's name with the glass? Oh, they both have glasses. With the long dreads or
I
braids.
cannot hear anybody. This sucks too,
My
because
name
I
is
really
Stacy.
want to be a part of this conversation.
Okay. So can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is Sturgis' Facebook post that started this whole conversation that I wanted to have with our audience tonight on these sticky subject matters. Listen, all of you who are on YouTube, please hit that thumbs up button. And I have put a link in the chat so that if you're not a member of YouTube, you can participate online. Everybody on LinkedIn and Facebook, you can type into the chat to participate and hit the like thumbs up button. Okay. So Sturge says on August 30th, he says, just heard Heated by Beyonce. Aside from the supposed ableist slur she used, the song is packed with vulgarity. I'm sure my 9-year-old daughter Camille and all of her friends know all of the words. I went to a fashion show several years ago where a popular performer, Cash Doll, came on stage and did her song. It was one of the most vulgar songs I had ever heard, and the audience was packed with young female teenagers screaming every word. The other day, I posted about people driving crazier now than ever before. I sincerely believe, to the extent that basic decency is eroded in everyday language, acts of common courtesy erodes right along with it. Okay. And so you got several people that agreed with you. And one person, Gloria Mitchell, said, I knew the Beehive were going to come for you, Sturge. They're ubiquitous and unrelenting. Y'all come for Sturge, don't come for me. I'm just repeating what he's saying. Okay. So we're back. So listen, Sturge,
Yes.
tell us what you were thinking about when you had that revelation, when you heard the song Heated. This is off of her latest album called, what is it? Is it Renaissance? What is the album? I don't even know what it's called. I forgot.
It's close to that, Renaissance or something along those lines.
Renaissance, Stacy?
Oh, I'm not a Beyonce fan, so
Latrice, what's the album called?
hold on, I'll find out for you. I'm about to find out for you.
Okay. And she can't hear me at all. Latrice.
Renaissance.
I thought it was Renaissance. Okay, so Sturge, what did you hear that was so vulgar in the music that you didn't like? Was it the words? Was the what exactly was it?
I'm going to bring these words up just a second.
Okay. Not the song, just the words, right? Because don't bring up the song because it'll get a copyright strike. Because this is filtering on YouTube.
Well, she had one song on the album on "You Won't Break My Soul."
Yeah,
so
that's not that. I mean, that's
vulgar, right?
That's been playing all over the place,
right?
Yeah, yeah, it has been. Yeah. So, I was looking up about what the FCC says. Let's see.
I was gonna read some of the words, and I can see that I'm on my phone on this broadcast, and I was trying to look at the words while I'm on the phone talking to you, and apparently I can't do both at the same time.
Yeah,
so it says something along the lines of "give me face." And
Hey, testing.
I hear you, Latrice.
I'm going to try signing out again. I'm not sure what is going on, but I cannot hear any of y'all.
Okay. Okay. Try it again. What were you saying, Sturge? It says what now?
Yeah, give me faces, and I'm sure she's talking about oral sex.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and she uses the common tropes or the common words in today's music, the N word,
Uh-huh.
and I'm pretty sure the P word, and on and on. And I could read it to you, but I can't get both of them to come up at the same time, the
Right.
broadcast and the lyrics.
Right.
So I immediately thought about my 9-year-old daughter. And the other thing I thought about was she's about 40 years old now, right?
She is 41. She
Yeah.
and I share a birthday, September 4th. She
Wow.
turned 41.
So I immediately thought, is this a 41-year-old attempting to stay relevant by using common language and popular music amongst young people? But my issue is, like I said in the post, that vulgarity breeds vulgar behavior, in my opinion. Now, people, of course, will argue for every generation. They'll say they said that in the 20s, the 30s, they said in every generation. And it's true. They have said it in every generation. However, I would say that we can see a sort of empirical evidence of it. We can observe difference in behaviors, drastic differences
Okay,
in
I'm still
behaviors
not hearing anything.
with young black
This
people
is super
in our
strange.
neighborhoods. And as we go along, I'll point some of those things out. So those things concern me. And by the way, before people get online or make comments about why didn't you say this about men who use misogynistic lyrics, and why didn't you say this about this or that, we can talk about one or two or three things at the same time. However, I was talking about Beyonce, and it's not an exclusive thing. It's not mutually exclusive. It's much of popular black music and contemporary black music for young people. It's not just Beyonce. It's rap in general.
Yeah.
That is vulgar. And then later on, I'll get
logging
into
on Facebook, but
my deeper concerns about it.
I mean, maybe you're coming on the desktop, but it's
Right.
super strange that I can't hear anything.
Okay.
Oh, and also, as we go along, it's important to define terms. And somebody might say, well, what's vulgar to you isn't vulgar to everybody. So for general understanding, my definition of vulgar in this context is anything that if I walked into your house with somebody you know and you didn't know me,
yes,
and I started saying the P word, the D word, and the B word, and you
right,
never saw me before, you would say, stop talking like that in my house.
Exactly.
In front of my children. But you don't say that when a stranger named whoever, any name, just insert the rapper's name, comes into your house saying that and worse. And the reason you would tell me not to say it is because you understand the impact of language coming from adults on children.
Right, right. You know what's interesting? I looked up Tipper Gore, because remember when she started that whole thing about putting labels on music, about
I remember.
whatever you, and so she said that the reason why she got into that was because there were so many people. She wanted to be a child psychologist. That was her lifelong dream, but she didn't fulfill it. And she said she knew the power of language on young children and how it could be misinterpreted or interpreted in a poor way. And that just wasn't acceptable for her. And she thought she had to do something about it. Stacy, can you weigh in on this subject, please?
Yes, I would love to. Coming from a community activist that I am around the city of Atlanta, and also having my own women's nonprofit organization here, what I see in my interpretation of the problem, and this is just me, is first of all, is money. It's a money aspect for the rappers that are getting paid. And as far as the vulgar language, that's the language that gets them paid. Because if they try to sing about anything else, it's not going to be no money in it. So it narrows down to just money. They don't care about destroying the communities, because the communities are, a lot of them are already destroyed now. And I feel like wholeheartedly they can be rebuilt if together people come in unity as for within the Black community and put a stop to everything that's going on. But we know that probably won't happen no time in my lifetime. I'm 57 years old, but it's all about money. The vulgar language gets them the money, and that's where they're going with it.
Sturge, what do you say about that? I mean, money, I would dare start saying that money then is definitely the root of all evil. If that's the case, the love of money, because I mean, that's ridiculous.
Well, I disagree.
Game. That's what it is.
Yeah, I disagree. So I'm an avid reader of Black scholars, and Juwanja Kanjufu, the Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys, Frances Cress Welsing, the ISIS Papers. And for example, Frances Cress Welsing, who's a child psychologist, mentioned that Black people are quite often confused about the nature of white supremacy. They think that it's about money. It's not about money, because if it was just about money, it wouldn't be necessary to do these things. For example, money is just a trade-off, say for a rapper, he can get a car, a house, or something like that, right? So if it was just about money, why did they insist that Michael Jackson take the word kike? And by the way, if you're Jewish, I am not using that term as a racial slur or a religious slur against you. That was a word that Michael Jackson put in the song "They Don't Care About Us," where he said, "Kick me, bite me, don't you kike me," something along those words.
I remember that now. I remember that.
Right, and the Jewish community was so outraged, they made him re-record it, and he had to come. He had to him re-record it. Right, and he had to come. Oh, see, I got it. He had him re-record it.
What's happening?
And he had to come. Somebody has their radio or something on.
Hey, Latrice.
That may be me. Can y'all hear?
We I could hear you so clear, but you were giving feedback. It was coming feedback on somebody else.
Yeah, she's trying to listen to the show on the radio, and it's creating an echo.
Oh, wait.
She's trying to listen to the show on the radio, and it's creating an echo.
Oh, my apologies. It just keeps like...
She's trying to listen to the show on the radio, and it's creating an echo.
Oh, my apologies. It just keeps like...
Trying to listen to
It's recording you or something. You can't, you have any earbuds? It's recording you or something. You can't, you have any earbuds? Okay. Keep going, Sturge.
Yeah. So it would not be necessary for Michael Jackson if Black women could be called bees and hoes and everything else, and Black men can be called N-words and dumb aim and on and on. If that's allowable, why isn't kike allowable? Why is it that only Black music relies on outright minimization of Black people? Country songs don't minimize Black people as a specific reference to their people. They might talk about people being drunks or gambling or something like that, but they don't say hunkies drink a lot. They don't say whiteys drink. They just say, I knew a guy named Tommy drank a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rap it, not to stop you or interfere with you, but rap from the beginning was demonizing Black women from the beginning. Only thing that happened with it was it got stronger, and once it got stronger and the money got bigger, like I say, I'm here in the streets of Atlanta. I'm around a whole lot of people that's doing a whole lot of things, and at the end of the day, it's gonna go back to the money. Now, as far as us being called N-words and you and referencing to the Black, that starts with us.
I agree. However, it is currency. It's global currency. So we aren't everywhere. I should restate that. We are everywhere on the planet. That we don't live everywhere in large numbers. So like she mentioned earlier that I'm a singer. And so I've traveled extensively internationally. So, for example, singing in Europe a number of times, I got a chance to talk to young white women, men, and they have a specific view of Black people that's based on stereotypes that largely come from television and Black music. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they pay a Black rapper and it comes out in the money. And you said it started off by with misogyny towards Black women. That's not true. For example, you might or might not call Dead Poets Society or the Dead Poets rappers. And I'm not sure if I'm even using the right word for the name of that group. What was that group in the late 60s who were essentially rapping?
She says dead presidents. Latrice is saying.
No, it's not Dead
No,
Presidents.
that was a movie that came out. Yeah, that's a movie that came out. Yeah.
Okay.
The Dead Poets or the Poets, and they were rapping, and of course, Black poets. All of their rap was uplifting. It was uplifting and nurturing and enriching to the Black community. So no, it didn't start out with misogyny. And I want to say that the notion that it's all about money is something that Black people need to immediately dismiss. Mm-hmm. Because what that suggests is everybody wants money. So does that mean it's okay if on the airways that are supposed to have FCC regulations and all these kind of things that tell everybody else they have to not say this and not say that, except if you call Black people everything under the sun, which is what they're saying, then that means it's okay and we shouldn't have a problem with it. And but that's not the case. And my bigger concern is what impact is it having on Black children? Because Black children are the future of Black people.
And that's the whole issue behind this whole culture talk, because we're gonna get into the baby mama situation and language situation and all of that, because Latrice said it was Gil Scott Heron.
Gil Scott Heron.
The Last Poets. Yeah.
The Last Poets.
But in my opinion, at the end of the day, Sturge, it's kind of like with your conversation, you bringing in, like, you're talking about the vulgarity of rap music, then you're bringing in a little bit of racism with it, and it's kind of like, at the end of the day, us, the people of the Black community, what are we going to do to take steps to make this change? You know what I'm saying? What type of movement are we going to, collectively develop to see what you're talking about in our community, respect, you know what I'm saying, the vulgar language to be gone? That's going to start with us.
That's the best question. When the question you just asked, that's the best question.
$50 million question, right? Because listen, I don't know. I mean, I haven't even gotten into the fact that we just talked about what Sturge was talking on the vulgar language that he found in Beyonce's song "Eat It." And then I did hear Church Girl, which really got a lot of negative press because a bishop here in North Carolina went viral on that, talking about Church Girl, which somebody had taken from a Clark Sister song that Beyonce had, and she incorporated it into her music. And I have to say, I was not happy with her with the song. Let me just say that. I thought it was a bit much. To my liking. I thought that some of the wording in it and stuff, I thought, I don't know. Because see, I'm thinking of the Clark Sisters Church Girl song. So anyway, but I was telling Serge before when I was talking about him doing this show, is that I call a lot of this new rap body parts music.
Garbage.
But what I mean by body parts, I was listening. I don't know who the rapper is. Don't ask me. I have no idea. But he was so explicit in what he was going to do to this female's body. I was like, so we talking about body parts now? I mean,
the culture has changed, Pam. I mean, the culture has.
But that's my point, Stacey. What?
To nothing. To trash.
Absolute positivity.
But you have a percentage of people that offer our people getting rich and become millionaires. Just they crossed the billionaire mark.
With
Yeah,
trash.
With,
yeah.
with
So
the trash.
I like to respond to her question. What can
Okay.
black people do? So
Yeah.
that's the most important question, because we can talk all night about what's happening, but the real question is, what are we going to do about it? So here's what here's what black people can do in part, because it's a big white supremacy is a global machine, and it's it's a fathom it's a foe. It's very uh, it's a foe that's hard to beat, but you can take some steps to kind of get a grip on it, for lack of a better word. So, for example, if we know, and we do know, that all of this vulgarity exists in black music, and that's what they push towards young black people. For example, my daughter just had career day at her school. So I do screen printing, custom screen printing, wearable garments, t-shirts, sweatshirts, anything that you can wear, jackets, caps, all of that for schools, businesses, and organizations. And I've been doing it for 45 years, right?
Oh, wow.
So I go to the school and I talk to the kids about it, and I'm showing samples of the work I've done. And then I tell them that I sing and I travel. And of course, that really perked their ears up, because now I'm an entertainer and a singer. And that's the kind of thing they see more of. They never even heard of a screen printer before, right?
Right.
So I asked them in the class, in every class I went to, and I went to several. Now, these kids are about 5 to about 13.
Okay.
I didn't ask them what they wanted to be. I asked them, who in here wants to be a rapper?
Oh, boy.
And nearly everybody's hand went up. And then after I asked that, I said, who wants to be an engineer? Nobody's hand went up.
Nobody?
Who wants to be, nobody. Who wants to be in construction? Nobody's hand went up. Who wants to be a doctor? Nobody's hand went up.
Nobody.
So nobody's. Now, this was disheartening. And I explained to the class that about numbers on being a rapper, just like with sports. I did ask who wants to be a basketball player, wants to be fun. And of course, a lot of hands went up there. So sports and entertainment is what young black children are interested in. They're not particularly interested in scholastic things. They're not interested in anything else outside, by and large, of sports and entertainment. So I told them some of the pitfalls of entertainment, the kind of things they can expect, and how very few people make large amounts of money in entertainment.
That's right.
Right. And all of the glamorous life they think they're going to get easily by singing or dancing or throwing a ball or bouncing a ball. I don't want to crush their dreams, but it's not likely to happen. And they can go ahead and go after if they want to, but a more reachable goal is to go ahead and practice your sport if you're interested in it, but do well in school. And it starts with being able to read well. So to answer her question, like, what can we do? So we can start reading to black children when they're young. See, because you need a counterbalance to white supremacy, which always says that black people are less than. So if you read to black children from black scholars who uplift black people, those black children will hear those words and they'll internalize them. And then when they hear rap music that says bitch, hoe, motherfucker, and all that kind of thing, they can have something to balance that with. Because if you aren't reading, if you aren't hearing
you froze up, Sturge. Listen, it's Mercury retrograde. I tell you, it is Mercury retrograde. Famously.
Okay, looks like we lost. We lost.
We had a little glitch there.
Yeah. So to answer that question again, reading to black children. Now, this is not a small thing. This is a big thing. Read to young black children when they're very young, and read to them frequently. But don't just read anything to them. Read books that have black imagery, black kings and queens or black working people, black images, so that they can make the connection between being whole human beings. Because if you think of people as B's and N's and all these other words, that's not a whole human being. That's not even a human being.
I have to agree with you on that. But also, Sturge, what I want to say is, in November, I'm on the ballot here in the state of Georgia in Cherokee County for a state house representative.
Yeah.
What the school board is going up against now in this county is the fact that you have, and I'm just gonna call it like it is. You have a group of racist white people trying to take over the school board in the county because they don't want the Black and the interracial kids to learn none of that of what you're talking about.
Right, of course.
So the only way that these kids are going to get that education, find out anything about these people, you know, Dr. Francis, Chris Wessling, you know what I'm saying, all of that. The only way they're going to get that, they're going to have to, it's going to have to start at home.
That's right.
They're going to have to be introduced to that at home.
Right.
Now, in the metro areas of most cities, which are your low income areas, when you in the major city or whatever state you live in, what Black kids are you think getting that? Because they're not getting that. Their moms are playing Beyonce. Their moms are playing Migos. Their grandmama is listening to Jay-Z. Their grandmama is listening to Kanye West. So where are they supposed to get this from?
So let's go back to you saying that you're running for office. So none of these things are mutually exclusive, as I said earlier. For example, we very much need to change people's notions about voting, because all politics are local, as you've heard before. So to the extent that people can get on a school board, Black people who are interested in Black issues, then as Black people vote in large numbers and overcome all the obstacles to voting that white folks throw up in front of us, then we can get Black people on these school boards, and we can get these kinds of books and this kind of curriculum and this kind of teaching. And like I said before, fighting the system of racism, white supremacy it's a very, very challenging endeavor.
Yeah, right? And you have to truly understand that. And what you're saying is straight facts, because the problem that I'm having in this county, I'm an outspoken person. They're not going to silence me. You're not going to tell me to think things the way you see it as Caucasian people, because I'm not rolling like that. You know what I'm saying? But the problem we have in this county is the fear. The Black people that live in this county, they're afraid to run for anything. They're afraid to step up. They're afraid to step up and say, hey, I have kids in this school system that I want, that they need to learn X, Y, Z. You know what I'm saying? You have very few Black people that are willing now. We don't have the people that we had during the civil rights movement. I'll be 58 next month. I was a little girl, but I grew up in Memphis, and now I'm here in Atlanta. So I was educated through all of that through my family of how it was going, Dr. King being killed. We don't have Black people now that want to say, you know what? I'm going to put everything on the line, and I'm going to go and I'm going to fight for my people. You don't have that no more.
However,
Hold on 1 second, because we got community chiming in, and I got to read their posts so they don't feel they left out. So Tracy Allen Moss says, our community issues are so convoluted and nuanced that it's extremely difficult to bring about cohesion to the degree we need. In my opinion, we have to start teaching the babies what we were never taught. They need early and continued cultural education in their lives. Okay. Absolutely. Black women and artificial intelligence. Let them know about Black women. Yes. This is my soror. Angel, yes, we will, honey. Learn to code. Okay. Oh, this is my friend. This is Dr. Ernest Johnson. Critical thinking is essential. Teaching our children to play the game of chess. Okay, that's one thing. Okay. I got so many of these guys. Wait a minute. We must highlight STEM organizations the same way we highlight celebrities. Amen. And Latrice said it's a numbers game. Are Blacks the majority in your area, Stacy?
No.
Okay, Stacy, no. I knew that, Stacy, but I didn't know that you were still running for office. We're gonna have to talk about that.
Oh yes, I'm definitely. I mean, you know, probably I would say middle ways of this whole thing. They really, once they realize, you know, she is not going to play our game. She's not going to do it the way we want it done. You know, I mean, it was too late then. They can't take me off the ballot. I'm still on the ballot.
We're going to have to talk about it. Okay.
Okay.
We have them, but we have to make an effort to find them.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary Salata, as a white teacher in an elementary school in a suburb of Detroit, another thing that bothers me is the lack of black teachers for our kids. They need role models and people that look like them. We have exactly one black teacher in my building. Mary, are you talking about in what city? In Clinton? Mary, type in the chat what city? Okay, another one. These things are not new ideas. Reading to our children, getting on school boards, and running for political office. We're not doing it. Stacy is right. We just don't have people willing to step up and take these positions.
Nope.
Woo, okay,
So-
that's a lot of participation.
Nope.
Thank you, audience.
Nope. I mean, people will come on social media and they'll talk about what needs to be done and what should be done. And then they go home and they sit back and they wait for the few people that are going to fight, you know, and I go through this on a daily basis, you know, wait for the people that are going to be the voice and speak out, and they just waiting to reap the benefits because their thing is, no, I got to go. I have to clock in tomorrow. I got to get them 8 hours, you know, because I got to do this. I got to do that, you know, and a lot of time it bothers me because the households are the households with the parents and the kids, you know. I've never been married. I don't have any kids. So people ask me constantly, why are you out trying to fight for the community? And you know what I'm saying? You don't have no kids. But I have nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews.
And you're a humanitarian. We should all be looking to do something for somebody outside of ourselves, right?
Exactly.
Mary was talking about her city of Canton, Michigan.
Canton, Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She's talking about modeling. So black children and white children in particular, in that instance, need to see black teachers. What's the young lady? I forgot her name. I said that before with the dread. Stacy. Now that was my brother's name, Stacy. Okay, so it's easy now. So Stacy said we don't have people. However, we do, and it's all around the country. And if you listen to, you know, I don't want to talk about other stations necessarily, but like Sirius XM. Where they have the urban talk. There are lots of black people running for lots of things around the country, and we may not be aware of it. But if we listen to things like that, we can lend support to send them money or whatever. Lots of people, black people, are doing those things, running for local boards, school boards, city council, on and on and on. But I want to get back to what the white teacher said about they need more black teachers.
Mary Salata.
Mary Salata. So she's not far from me, apparently.
No, she's in Canton, Michigan.
Right. That's not. I was in Canton today, as a matter of fact. Yeah, she's right. And white children, you hear a lot of right-wing people talk about they don't want critical race theory, which isn't in schools anyway.
It's not.
What they're really saying is they want to forget white history and the terrorism and violence that white people imposed on black people. That's what they're really saying. They want to bury it and forget it. However, all of these things, as Stacy said earlier, black people have to take it upon themselves to teach it at home. And it's true that a lot of young people now, they are encouraging all of that negative exposure. For example, a young boy and about 4 young black boys are going around the neighborhood pulling guns on people and robbing people, and tried to rob the ice cream truck just a couple of weeks ago. And a few of them put a gun on me while I was walking my dog, right?
Oh, no.
So we found.
Oh, no. Crazy. Oh. Gosh. Well, let's read this. We can't.
I was reading that.
You're back. So one goes to my daughter's school. So we had a meeting with the boy. We got the mother in. The mother's very young. The boy is very big for his age. And another father came with his son who hangs with the boy who had the gun. The mother insisted the boy did not have a gun. The woman who he put the gun on insisted he did. And she lives three doors from me. So when Stacy said the parents are encouraging this behavior, let me tell you what the father said concerning all of this. So several people from my block came to the meeting because the boy tried to rob the ice cream truck. He robbed the boy across the street, took his bike. He pulled a gun on this grandmother who lives three houses from me. And then so we reported to the school, to the police. Then we had this meeting with the boy, his friends, and some parents. The father of one of the boys said to us, the adults who were in the room, he asked us, what were we doing there? And we mentioned to him that we live a few houses from her, and we happen to live on the same block that he was pulling his gun out on and robbing the ice cream truck. And he said to us, he didn't do it unto you. You don't have any business here. What are you doing here? He didn't pull it on you. This is a level of ignorance. This is a level of it. And then the father mentioned that he had been to prison. This is a level of ignorance that Black people have to fight in these instances where we try to bring order from chaos in our neighborhoods, right? So Stacey's right that we are fighting a level of ignorance, and that ignorance is born being exposed to a school system of white supremacy that doesn't teach you a damn thing, doesn't teach you critical thinking skills. It just gets you prepared from the 3rd grade to make a bed for you in prison. And that Black father went to prison, as he mentioned, but he doesn't know that the best way to fight what his son was engaged in was to bring the community together, to confront his child as a group of adults, so he could see that the adults will not tolerate his behavior. Right. And if he continues, he will go to prison. But we were trying to stop that from happening.
Right.
Avoid that. Right.
But the father was like, y'all don't even belong here. What y'all doing here?
And I'm surprised the mama didn't show up with a bonnet on and some house shoes on her head, because that's normally, how they roll.
Well, her mother came with her, and her mother was yelling. Her mother was yelling and screaming, defending the boy's behavior.
Yeah.
And so it's a hard thing, but it's a thing that's necessary. And of course, we interceded. The boy did not go to jail. He didn't get arrested. So now we're in the process of trying to, quote unquote, heal that boy. Because otherwise, and the police were there too, by the way.
Good. Okay, we got a bunch more comments in the audience. Okay. We can't say there are no African Americans that still fight for our rights like back in the day. They are here. Look for them and then support them. Okay, Mary came back and says, our district, she's in Canton, in Michigan, Canton, Michigan. Our district stresses diversity, and we get a lot of training to make sure we know how to teach to all cultures. And then Mary said, yes, I think you said something that she agreed with, Sturge. And then Latrice, our poor Latrice. Latrice, you hanging, girl. You doing good. I agree with Stacy. I'm on the community board, and like her, I don't have any children. I have a vested interest in where I live and work because my tax dollars prop up these institutions. Amen. The New York Times just published an article about yeshivas in my neck of the woods, which is applicable in other places. Very good.
Well, first of all, what we're going to have to do is we have to educate our people about, like Sturge said, the importance of voting, but not only voting every 4 years for the president, but coming in and voting for these midterms
elections.
Because our people, they come out for the president, but they really don't know the importance of the governor. They'll come out for the mayor, but they really don't know the importance of the state house. They don't, lack of knowledge.
They better know about the water treatment operator and who's over sanitation and all of that too. Okay.
And we also have to admit, over the course of years, we've lost a couple of generations. When the crack era came in the late 80s and into the 90s, it destroyed the Black community on many different levels.
It absolutely destroyed the Black community.
With the blessing of the United States government, by the way.
With the government. Exactly. And why everybody was so in love with Bill Clinton. Oh, Bill Clinton was the first Black president, blah, blah, blah. Bill Clinton was actually the governor that sat over there in Arkansas and allowed all that crack to come through there. That kind of did an explode between Arkansas, Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama and Mississippi as well. I mean, at the end of the day, our people got to stand up. They got to understand what's going on with us. We have to, if we could come together and sell out concerts, if we could come together and gangbang and do all of that, why can't we find the right people, as the lady said, in the comments, get behind the right African Americans, support them, and let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
We've got to start within the communities. We've got to tell these people you got to come out and vote. November is going to be so
important.
It's a consequential election, people.
Here in Georgia with Stacey Abrams, fighting to be the female Black governor, and with Crooked Kemp and his whole posse, we got to fight. Nobody wants to do that.
Right. Dr. Ernest, it's so many comments, y'all. Dr. Ernest Johnson, hip hop education using vocabulary. Okay. Freedom M. Butler, from my experience this summer registering people to vote, I see and understand what's happening with our children. Role models start at home, then church and school. Okay. Dr. Johnson put in a chess website. Latrice, state legislatures are where policies are set. In New York, you have the Assembly and the State Senate.
Yep.
Latrice, the governor does not operate in a vacuum, nor does the mayor, who has to work with the city council.
Exactly.
Great. And Terry,
all those levels.
Glad to see you on here. Children are having children now, Pam. No fooling, Terry. That's the problem. We listen. We know that is the problem. We were just talking about grandmama listening to Jay-Z. So,
but you know what, Pam? I'm not trying to stop you and stop your reading. My great grandmother got married at 13.
Yeah,
and had kids.
Right.
They went on to be teachers.
Yeah,
a lot of them went on. They worked at the post office. I was growing up in Memphis. They worked at the post office. They worked Firestone, but they built that middle class. And her, as a 13-year-old, having babies, took the accountability and the responsibility of taking care of her kids and being a mother when they were born. See, they try to tell me that when we in the streets and we feeding the homeless and we set up old babies having babies. And that one I can't roll with, because I don't have any kids. But it's all about that individual taking the accountability and the responsibility to be the mother and the father to those kids and making sure everything, because I mean,
but the morals and the values and what have you that your great grandmother had, what my mother had and taught me, and Serge, your parents taught you, and Latrice, your parents taught you. We were talking about it. It's a different game. So let's see what else Terry says. I would be remiss if I did not say these solutions are spokes on a larger wheel. We have got to have a wheel mindset. There is no one solution. No, there's multiple. All spokes have to be engaged at the same time. But no, we are our own problem. I don't disagree with you.
Yes.
Initially, our parents.
I do disagree with that. I disagree with that.
Okay, Sturge, let me finish and you can chime in. Our parents hid the truth from us and direct our focus on integration, assimilation. So it is incumbent upon us to restore our memory first. Then second, we must tell our truth to our own selves. We have, and then he ran out of space. Okay, so Sturge, what you gonna say?
If someone is throwing rocks at me, and I'm not responding appropriately, I might cry. I might just stand there and get hit with the rocks, or I might say, "Stop throwing rocks at me." And they keep throwing rocks at me. A person watching that scenario wouldn't say, "Well, Sturge is the problem." I'm not the problem. The problem is the person throwing rocks at me. That's the problem. So white supremacy is the problem. Now, the issue is the way we respond to it. And can keep in mind that white supremacy is very sophisticated, and it uses psych profiles. It uses all kinds of methods of shaping our thinking and our responses to situations. So Black people are not the problem. White supremacy is the problem. The problem for us is a collective way of responding to it, to defeat white supremacy and injustice across the world. That's our issue. Now I want to get back to
white supremacy has been the problem since way back when. But how many times do you go into the community to speak to our children with the thinking that they have now, and with the moms and the grandmoms joining them at the clubs and smoking weed with them and everything, how many times you think you're gonna go in there and we're gonna sit down and talk to them about white supremacy? You think they're really interested in hearing that?
But I've never talked about white supremacy at those meetings. That's the first thing. So, but anyways, back to your about what we can do, because I want to mention something, by the way. You said you're 57. I'm 61, right? My mother was an avid community activist, and we grew up in the projects in Detroit, Herman Gardens projects. It's kind of a notorious place, right? Kind of like Cabrini Green, I guess. I guess that's in Chicago. I'm not sure. But so my mother got a lot done. She got a lot of funding, and she had an associate's degree. She never got a bachelor's degree. She wasn't necessarily a single mom. My parents were separated, and so we stayed with my father every summer in upstate New York and learned the sign business, and stayed with my mother here during school. So my mother went to every imaginable meeting you can imagine, and I went with her much of the time. So I got to see how local politics work, and so I became acquainted with a lot of the kind of going fair faces in Detroit, the people who come to all the meetings every time for decades. And I started going to the meetings. And what I found out over the years was the meeting is part of the oppression. So, for example, they stole $600 million from property tax, the property tax in Detroit, people who pay property taxes. That includes me. And they admitted in Detroit, the city of Detroit stole overcharge of $600 million. They gave most of it to Dan Gilbert, Mike Ilitch, to build the Little Caesars Arena. Mm-hmm. Although they do these things, we go to a meeting about it, and they'll have a couple of officials there, and they'll say, "Oh, we'll look into it," and then they'll poison the water in Flint for years, and people have to pay for the poison water, and then they have to purchase bottled water. And they'll go to meetings for years. And so what happens is they placate Black people. And Black people feel like something is happening because they're meeting with white men who hurt them. And then the white men say, "Oh, we're looking into it, or we're going to do something." And they keep having these meetings, and nothing happens. No change happens. So devices like boycotts and the like are very effective. However, they're met with responses like, "Oh, don't stop buying something from him. He didn't do nothing wrong." When you hit people in the pocket, they respond to you.
Yes.
So Black people might want to revisit boycotting. Black people might want to, and by the way, as I mentioned, I'm 61. So I'm of the generation that saw the Black Power movement and what was it called? Power schools, freedom schools. Freedom schools in the Black community. My mother took us to freedom schools. So that's where Black people organized and got Black children together after school to learn about the things that they should have been learning in school. And that's what kind of piqued my interest in reading in particular. So we can do that again. We can get freedom schools.
We can definitely do it again, but it's like one of the people said when she was typing in about getting behind African Americans. Okay, it's kind of like in the city of Detroit. Everybody got behind Kwame Kilpatrick.
Oh, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have to know who we're dealing with and what we're dealing with, because some of the people like Kwame Kilpatrick, he got in there and thought he was a white man, so he felt like he was gonna run it the way the white man run it and was gonna do it and get away with it. The only reason why he got out is because of Donald Trump. Otherwise, he'd still be in there.
And of course, Trump did that thinking that next go around he could get some black votes. That
he was going to get them next 4 years. But the thing about it is we have to be careful about the people that we elect to go in there that look like us, say they represent us.
Well,
because a lot of them are going in there to represent themselves and line their pockets.
That's part of educating Black people or the younger generation who have not started voting yet.
Okay, we gotta read some more. We gotta read some more audience stuff. Latrice, I hope I live a long life. If I do, I imagine the kids coming up now will be the ones to take care of me. I want them to be educated and know what they're doing. Hey. Let's see here. Black Women Intelligence. We must ask who has become the most influential person in the household.
Women. The women.
Terry, Allen, we have lost our cultural memory, and without our powerful memory restored, we will still think that their ice is colder than ours, which is supremacy 101. We need to put the 39 steps masterclass back into the church after school program. I don't know that 39 steps. Y'all know that? I don't know what
No,
it is.
no.
Listen, I put a StreamYard link in the chat that if you want to come up instead of type, you can come up. Okay, Dr. Johnson, the way out is a trade and a job. Education sent the talent out of the community.
Well,
Okay.
Dr. Johnson, on that one, I have to say, yes, definitely education, but entrepreneurship as well. We need to, educate our children about. See, we didn't get that when we were coming up because it was like work hard, get a job, stay there long enough, they'll make you manager, they'll make you the supervisor or whatever. We need to educate our children about being entrepreneurs as well. That's very important in our community.
They're getting that now. I mean, I know so many young people that are doing careers of their own, entrepreneurship and stuff. Dr. Johnson, one size does not fit everyone. Pick your battles and work on one issue. Keep on working on that issue. Keep on. Okay, Terry's back. Brother, white supremacy has created the hate. That hate produced black on black crime, murder. Also, we are also the problem because we are still living in a world where another culture sell us our own damn hair products. White folks or our folks for that. Hell no. I'm 64, run until that.
I know, right? I mean, and at the end of the day, we have to, I don't say this is their country. I don't never say that because it's God's country. But at the end of the day, they have the power. They have, the money. They have the means. There is power in numbers. If we can get our people to understand what we're going through and come on and let's do this. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is that we have to, it's not even just educating the kids. We need to educate a whole household because we have had we've got generations of babies, mamas, and that proliferation. We didn't even get to that subject yet, but you know what I'm talking about.
The welfare system. A lot of them got stuck on the welfare system and they're making it generational and not doing anything. I mean, yeah. And
it's just perpetuating and people are thinking it's okay. I even had picked out a paternity court case to show y'all a clip of where the guy, at 12 years old, one young man already had a child. His girlfriend that he got pregnant had her first child at 14. Then he got her pregnant with twins in the church. They would be in a church van and they were hunching. Next thing you know, they turned up with twins, and now he has, at the age, I forget how old he is, he's just in his early 20s, he has 9 children.
And don't want to go to work? Don't want to? He is working?
He does music. He said that because he was in the church and doing church work, they had preachers that were telling him, man, I don't want you on my project if you ain't gonna take care of your babies and all that. It was mess.
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
It's a mess. It's like the other day I got a call because I have the nonprofit organization that I have here in Atlanta. We assist the single moms.
Okay.
And I got a call the other day. It was about this 16-year-old girl with 3 children already and pregnant with the 4th one sleeping under the bridge.
Oh, no.
You see what I'm saying? So these are the type of things that I witnessed and, then try to, get them placed somewhere, get them some help, and do it. And only thing I could think about at that time was, where's her mom? Where's her grandma?
Well,
where's her auntie?
But see, that's the problem because 9 times out of 10, if she's got 3 kids at 16, maybe her mother did the same thing. So it's no telling her mother's not that old herself.
Now a lot of times, Pam, it don't. These teenagers, they're caught up in something else because you have a lot of good parents in the household. You have a lot of good parents out here in the household that are doing the right thing. But the influence of the rap music, of peer pressure, of the material things, it overrides what the parents are trying to teach their children, and they end up going in another direction. So a lot of time it starts at home, but we have to give kudos to the parents that are doing the right thing, but the kids just take a different road.
We
I
got
like to respond. By the way, this is kind of a critical issue for me. When Stacy mentioned about her grandmother, great grandmother having a child at 13, we
but
don't want
13.
huh?
Remember that she was married at 13.
Let me finish that thought. So the difference, however, we don't want to give the impression to anybody who's 13 in 2022 that it's okay to get married, and you can't anyways.
No, you
not,
can't anymore.
But even if you could, the difference between then and now was a living wage. So her grandmother could get married at 13, and whoever impregnated her could get a job with a living wage. So, and not only that,
actually they farm their own land. Okay. So my great, it was like as they grow older and stair steps, they were taking care of the land. So they had their own thing going on.
Right. And of course, white farmers took all that land along with the government, and now there's hardly any black farmers left. But
they didn't take their land. Their land wasn't taken from them in Tennessee. It never was.
I'm talking about overall.
Oh, in general.
So back to a living wage. So back then, there was an expectation if a black man got a child or a very young person pregnant, there was an expectation of him to get a job to support a family. That expectation does not exist anymore. So if a black boy gets a
that expectation don't exist anymore. But then that's where I say black women drop the ball, because you got to stop taking care of these men.
Not only that, he can't do like he could have done 50, 60 years ago, go to the plant and get a living wage without a high school diploma.
That's
so
right.
The landscape has changed.
It's changed. Okay, let me read some.
It's like we lost. Can you hear me?
AI is the most influential person in the household, the media. Have we moved beyond community? When was the last time you visited your neighbor? The answer does not just consist of one response. That's deep, Angel. That's deep. Okay, Ernest. I am not hoping for major changes, but my influence on my children and their children and the friends of the children of my close friends, that's where I see the impact. Okay. Add him back to the stream.
It take a village.
Village theory. We have
a village.
All folks, our solutions have to join as an entire wheel. Okay. Freedom in Butler. Sturge, I have been to many of those meetings, and many people won't question those in power and stay focused on the issues. And they just complain to each other.
That's what they do.
Spokes. Send a link, StreamYard. I did, Terry. It's in the chat. I'll have to scroll up and look for it. I have to send another one.
By the way,
go ahead.
That initial post I made about Beyonce's song.
Yeah.
My statement was fairly short, but it must have gotten 200 responses, and it ended up turning into LGBTQ rights, and it just went all kinds of directions.
Yeah.
And didn't have anything to do with what I was talking about.
You were just talking about the song, about it being vulgar, and you didn't like the language in the song, and that got me to my whole thing, and I still haven't finished. It says, Latrice says, that's one of the things I like about being bald. I don't miss being a creamy crackhead. White supremacy created the hate. I think we talked about
I read that.
Yeah, you did.
Posted it again, is what he did. Let me see. He says, Terry said, we had no damn living wage in 1954, sir. Wrong again. What we had was a village. Okay. Oh, wow. Doc Hill, great discussion. There is so much work to do with this and the next generation. So many of our children are raising themselves. That is the truth, Doc. Excellent work. Oh, thank you, Doc. Okay. We I'm gonna tell you, there's so much activity in the community chat. We discuss what is considered the worst of us, but what about the best of us? Can we have that discussion? Let's talk about resources and how we can do great things. We can do that, Angel. I just wanted to talk about give us a chance to talk about all
Yeah.
the
And I did say we have some great parents in the households now.
we do.
We have some great parents that, you know, and when I say parents, I mean the mother and the father. We have two parent households now. And a lot of kids just go zigzag, and a lot of kids stay the course. But even the ones that stay the course and come out of Morehouse and come out of Spelman, graduate and go on to do what they do in engineering or whatever, you're not going to hear about them. You won't hear about them because the rap, the beehives, Sturge, that came after you just simply said you didn't like the language of what Beyonce said in her record. They come, you know, her supporters will come after you. I mean, it's crazy out here. It really is. It's crazy out here.
Can you guys see what this says?
Love.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's a little tea towel. I have a story behind this. I like these little tea towels from my kitchen, and some people like them for their bathrooms or whatever. I went to one of my favorite little boutiques in off of Duke's campus here in Durham, and I went inside and they had all of these cute little tea towels. They were all these pretty colors, but they had all this profanity all over a tea towel. F this, S that, MF this. How am I going to put that on a tea towel and put it in my house and I'm decorating? I
Right.
mean, it's just crazy. It's just that crazy kind of stuff like that that makes absolutely
No sense.
sense. It
But
makes
that's greed. That's the greed of the United States of America. I
Yeah,
mean,
but you know, like Francis Cress Wilson said, when you have a system of white supremacy, you're going to make money anyways. But the function of white supremacy is to prevent the white genetic annihilation. That's the function. So they'll have FU and all the other things that Pam mentioned on tea towels. But in the meantime, they do everything they can to minimize Black people, demonize us, and make us ripe for the picking. So the police can put us in jail en masse. They can stop every Black man they see, shoot them, kill them, and shoot and kill Black children. All those things are kind of peripheral about the tea towels and so forth. That's just part. That's part of white supremacy.
well, Dr. Francis also said
this as white supremacy myself, Sturge. I just see this as regular old. I mean, this is something that whether you're Hispanic, Black, white.
I don't mean the word love. I mean
I mean tea towels. I mean, it's just something you put in your house.
I understand. What I'm saying is it permeates everything. And then so, in other words, all that negativity is projected onto us, and we kind of internalize it, you know. But I want to get back before we run out of time. I want to get back to what we can do. So I want to mention again, if you can read, and some people can't read, by the way.
A lot of people can't read, unfortunately.
Right, and if they can, it's at a 5th or 6th grade level. Find somebody who can read, and don't be embarrassed. But read, make sure your children are exposed to books. And if you aren't a fan of turning pages and paper books, physical books, get online, get an app that can read the book to you, audio books. But make sure it's by Black scholars who are concerned about Black people, and nourish your children with critical thinking skills and information about Black people that's very positive and uplifting. So it can help balance all this negativity. Because remember, music is very powerful.
It is.
And it's one of the methods they use to reach Black children to destroy their minds and to cause harm to other Black people. And so when people say, oh, it's just a beat, and when adults say to me, it's just a beat, it's just words, nobody even believes that who says it. Because like I said, if I walked in their house and called everybody in their house a bitch, a hoe, and a mother, they'd be fighting me. And but they'll let their children
out of my house, Sturge, because I don't allow that language in my house.
That's right. But they'll let the children listen to a stranger, people they don't know, say it in their house and play it loud, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but some of the parents and the kids, they communicate like that.
I
That's right.
know, but
You
Stacy,
have some parents and kids, that's how they communicate these days.
but Stacy, does that make it right? And then
No,
my girl says we must raise the level of expectation.
Yes.
exactly. We in a fight. We are in a fight.
We are
And
in an uphill battle, and I'm really worried about it because this is crazy.
it's
I
really
tell,
crazy.
I have a stepdaughter who's 21, and my daughter is 9. Our daughter. And so, before anyone says, "Why are you saying stepdaughter?" It's because my stepdaughter has a very good relationship with her father, and she considers him her father, and she prefers I refer to her as my stepdaughter. So that's what I do. So I tell them that because this is a 2-parent household, there's a different dynamic in this house.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm 61, but I'm in very good shape. I'm kind of fighting shape in terms of my weight. I'm light. And I boxed when I was young and did some martial arts and that kind of thing. So when my 21-year-old dates guys, they have a different expectations when they come over here because a male is in the house. And
Yeah,
there's a male who can handle them if
right.
they get out of line. And so when they come over here, I talk to them, you know, and
Mhm.
I'm not disrespectful. I'm very, I let them know I'm concerned about what happens and
Mhm.
that nothing should go wrong because they will hear from me. And
Mhm.
when you have a 75% or 70% of households where there's no man in the home,
Mhm.
so young boys figure they have a direct line and no
Mhm.
resistance.
Mhm.
There's least resistance in those homes, and they can get to the females very easily because
Mhm.
there's no male in the home who will challenge them or deal with them on a physical level,
Mhm.
and that's a very significant thing. That's
It
missing.
is.
Mhm. And then you have some homes where you have a man in the house, but you don't really have a man in the house. You know what I'm
Uh,
saying? You know, you have a lot of situations like that. You know, yeah, okay. You know, it'd be like, I'm just saying.
Stacy, the way you said that, listen, we needed that comic relief. We needed that
And
comic
and
relief.
and Serge, I was listening to what you were saying about Dr. Francis. Dr. Francis also made a statement that, and I don't know if you've heard it or read it, but she also made a statement that white men were inferior of black men because of their private parts, the size of their private parts.
Supposedly,
Yeah,
and
right.
she's saying that's not necessarily true, as
No,
everyone.
it's not. Of course, we can't make generalizations like that. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you. I know you keep quoting different things that she said, so I just I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, so that has to do with the word escapes me, myth, with mythologies. So there's a mythology about the sexuality of black people in general, and some of them include that black women are very promiscuous, and that black men have big genitalia, and we're just really sexual beings, and we're kind of along the lines of beast of burden. We're not really human. We just
I've
have
heard that.
big so and so's, and the black women just want to have sex all the time. So when white men say things like about a white woman who needs to get under control, they'll say what she needs is get effed by a black dude, because white people fantasize about what black people are, and white men, I believe, very much so, the outrageous venom white men show towards black men. I've been white men have tried to run me off the road at least 5 times while I was driving through my lifetime, and I've had to call the police. And then the white police will say, "Oh, I don't believe you," or they'll give me a ticket for trying to get away. Um, white men operate off of fear. The fear of white genetic annihilation. That's what white men operate off of. And all of these things about what black people are white male fantasy. And they're fantasizing about us in ways that demoralize and minimize us to justify their feelings about us, and because they know that's a lot of BS that they're perpetrating. But no, none of that stuff. And of course, I wouldn't know because I hadn't seen any other ones, right? So, but I suspect that uh, white men have a sort of a jealousy towards black men, whether it's about our body language, the way we respond to oppression, uh, all kinds of things. And they associate us with athletic skill and all kinds of things that they just created in their mind, right?
Yeah.
And so when they see us, they kind of resent our abilities, or what they perceive as our abilities that they wish they had, or even what Black women call our Black male beauty. You know, that we're highly melanated, and they don't have any melanin and wish they did, right? So they might be pasty white and wish they could, you know.
But one thing we know for sure, the white man always wanted the Black woman since slavery. So
that's right.
We know that. We are.
So Mary says that goes for white folks too, Stacy.
Yeah.
Real fathers. There are real fathers, and there are sperm donors.
Right.
And
Mary, you're exactly right. But here's where, for me, it takes a turn because I'm very radical. So you're not gonna, if you have more than just this one conversation with me after tonight and we conversate, you're gonna find that I'm not gonna take the side of the white man on anything. I'm gonna always stand on this side. I just don't, everybody, oh, well, that's racist, or call it what you want to, but that's just who I am. So I don't take their side on. I don't even want to. I know you have to balance it out when you're dealing with certain things, like with this election that I have coming. You have to balance it out, but you have to stand your ground when you're dealing with them. You have to truly stand your ground, especially the ones that are truly, truly against Black people of color. You have to be willing to stand almost toe to toe with them. So when it comes to them, I don't even.
Mary says that she respects you for that, and she said that male role models are essential. Terry says read Anthony Browder, Ivan Versertima, John Henrik Clark, Claude Anderson, Francis Press Wesseling. The solution is still hidden in plain sight, in our face. Love this, Pamela. Too bad your panelists are still pushing Black negativity, because success does run in our race more than failure. I don't think that Terry, I think what we're doing, Terry, we're just being honest about how things are right now, and how perhaps our people have played into it or been exposed to it or whatever. We know that success runs in everybody's race, in our race, and what have you. Unfortunately, we're in a bad time.
Yeah, we are. I would also like to add to that book list, Michelle Alexander, who's a professor and an attorney. Her book, The New Jim Crow.
I have that.
Mass incarceration in the age of color blindness.
Right.
You heard me say you should read. Those are some of the kinds of books you should read.
Right.
Chancellor Williams, as the brother mentioned in his post, there are so many books. The Lies My Teacher Told Me. Just look up these kinds of titles so you can start to get a better understanding of what you're dealing with, and your children can hear those words, concepts, notions, and ideas, and start to think critically when they hear this music, and they can even start to apply what they've read about to that music and say, okay, what does this mean? What is this about? Why are Black people calling each other niggas, dogs, hoes, and bitches? And they can start to question them. But without a balanced view of these things, they just kind of accept it.
Yeah. And to the one in the chat, Terry, it's not about Black negativity. A lot of times I find, and I'm speaking for me, a lot of times I find that our people don't want to be honest about the issues that we are having, that we need to improve and that we need to change. Nobody wants to take accountability for that and say, you know what, you're right. In those areas, we do need to make change. Everybody want to go, oh no, it's not our fault. Oh no, we're not to blame. And some of these things we are to blame for.
We are.
Yeah.
And we have to take accountability for it, because that's the only way we really can realistically face it and make corrections.
Yeah, but the way to make the corrections is to get the information. So for example, Dr. Joy DeGruy, her book, Post-Traumatic Slave Disorder, Syndrome, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. She talks about how Black people were violated for over 300 years and were never received treatment for it or therapy for it. And we're still suffering from it to this day. But you have to read the book to find out about her research. And then you start to get the ideas, and so they'll crystallize. And then when you crystallize those ideas, you can take action. But if you don't know what's happening, you can't take any action. You don't know what action to take.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, my wife owns a dance studio, 3D Dance Academy. She's a math professor, but she runs a dance studio. But in her classes, her dance class, she has a math teacher and a English teacher, so that the kids can get remedial courses, because that's so critical. Rather than just dance, they have to go to these classes. Those are the kinds of things you can do if you're doing something in the community. You can add something. You can add some value to help change the tide.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with you, because right now we're getting ready for a domestic violence event that we're hosting next month. And I always say that it's not about showing up at the event to talk about, and I appreciate the women that do talk about the experiences they've had with domestic violence, but it's also about having resources to give to these women as well. So once they get past this, they know what to do moving forward. And a lot of times, resources are not the proper resources are not provided for people to take that next step. So that's also something that we need to work on. We really need to work on that.
I want to mention to the audience, have you ever noticed that when, for example, Flint, Michigan was poisoned, predominantly black city, or with a large black population, I should say.
Like they do in Jackson, Mississippi right now with the water?
Yeah, so when those people were poisoned, it's going on, 6-7 years now? Our governor at the time, Snyder, he was responsible. He used public monies to defend himself, and he's worth $200 million because he used to be the CEO of a computer company. I can't remember the name. It had a cow logo. And no rapper called him a bitch. No rapper called him a MF. No rapper criticized him. When similar instances happen around the country with white men who do great harm to black people, Tamir Rice, the rappers didn't call the cops who shot Tamir Rice, who had a toy gun. They didn't say the cops were bitches holding. They didn't criticize. They didn't call them names. And Nina Simone said the function of the artist is to reflect the times. Exactly. You don't just reflect the times. You criticize the times. And these black rappers, they don't criticize the times. They criticize other black people and call them dogs and minimize black people.
Well, see, Dolores Tucker back in the 90s, when she had to run in with Tupac, she was trying to bring it to the forefront then, the damage that rap music was doing to our communities.
Are you talking about Sister Soldier?
The music labels and the music companies, they shut her down. You know what I'm saying?
You talking about Sister Soldier?
No, see, Dolores Tucker.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah.
Sister Soldier was another force.
I haven't heard from her in a while.
She passed away.
Oh, did she? Okay, I didn't know.
I didn't know that either. And
okay, listen, we are way over our time.
Oh, okay.
Are based on conditioning. Consider how woman is now utilized as a synonym for the B word.
That's right.
20 years ago, those were fighting words. Exactly. I cannot stand.
And they still fighting words today for some of us.
Yeah, you ain't. I hear you. Terry, on the Black negativity, you all have spoken more of the bad things and minimized the good things. Terry, listen, this whole thing I set up, Terry, as culture talk. And literally, we started talking about, there was a post that Sturge had made about language in a song. And that's how we started this whole talking. I heard more problems and successes. And of course you have, because we do have a whole lot of problems, and that's the truth. But but Terry, we talk about many things here on this show. This was one of our culture talks, and we'll have another one. And
Terry, Pam, also let me help Terry here. Terry, you're talking about Stacey Abrams. I was in a meeting a couple of weeks ago with Stacey Abrams about voting power, and I gathered the resources that are needed to get the younger people interested in coming out in November. So I've done that part. The domestic violence, if you're not in the community with the homeless and those type of people, if you're out there, you know that a lot of that comes from domestic violence. That's why it's so important to have events and stuff to highlight domestic violence, because you have homeless women out there with their children who got tired of getting beat on, and they're now in the streets. So you have to be able to kind of put it all together, Terry. So I mean, that's your opinion.
And another thing, Terry, we talk about many things. Like, this is just me coming back from birthday break, hiatus, and wanted to do a culture talk and just didn't want to dive immediately into politics. But earlier we were rah-rahing up Stacey Abrams, and we'll be doing more. But our next show will be definitely back to our most, as we do most times, is politics. Listen, it is 9:24. The show ends at 9 o'clock, and we have so much in the chat. So, anyways, I don't want to argue with anybody about what we did or did not talk about. I had an agenda for tonight. We got a lot of responses from you guys. It is just so great. We have, I appreciate you all so much. And for all of that activity, you guys got to hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I need to get 500 subscribers just to be able to post on YouTube like I do on Facebook. I talked to the YouTube guys at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention, and they just think they just look at you like you're crazy. Anyways, it just takes a lot. I enjoy all of you guys so much. Stacey, Sturge, I finally get to talk to you after liking so many. You can't hear me? Oh, wow. He can't hear me now. Wow. I don't know what happened.
Well, it was nice meeting you, Sturge.
Bye-bye. That's what it is. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Wave us off, guys. Wave off.
Bye.
Bye.